All right, Jonathan, the last part of our assessment we're going to do is for your fluency and comprehension. So, I time you for this, but your objective is just to read it as fluently as you can. Remember, don't drop off on the ends of your sentences. You got to read the whole sentence to the period, and I got to hear it. And then I'll be watching to see. Oh, be nice, yeah. I'll be listening and checking to see how accurate your reading is, and I'll be timing you, okay?
Okay.
So first I need to ask you some concept questions. All right, what does captivity mean?
To be put in a small place, or to be put in a place.
Tell me more.
When you're put in a small place without escape.
Okay. Let's see.
Why are you doing so bad?
What does liberated mean?
I have no idea. Holy.
What do you think? What would be your best guess?
To
Liberated.
Take over.
Okay. And what is a disinfectant?
What in the sense of?
A disinfectant. When I say disinfectant, what does that mean to you?
I think of like a spray.
Okay. What does it do?
Get rid of germs.
Okay. Okay. What do you think re-education means for the context of this story where the ashes are? Re-education. R-E, education. Remember, we're talking about where the ashes are in the context of that story.
Probably the government, probably the military re-educating. I don't know.
Okay, but that's using the word in the definition. What would the government do in re-educating?
Give them, or teach them how to use stuff.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I am going to give you now the story. We read Where the Ashes Are, Part 1. Okay, I'm going to give you Where the Ashes Are, Part 2. Thank you. All right, remember that I am going to be timing you. You're just going to read straight through, and I will be listening and paying attention to what you're reading. And you may start whenever you are ready.
3, 2, 1, go. Out in the courtyard, it was still dark. Dozens of people in the night clothes shivered in the early morning dampness. Slowly, the soldiers separated families from one another. The guest house was to be used as a temporary holding center. More people were brought into the courtyard. A disheveled Frenchman of about 30 entered the area barefoot, a trench coat thrown on over his pajamas.
You're doing fine. Keep going.
His pajamas. Hands clasped together, he tried to explain his situation to two Viet Cong soldiers. De Gaulle, Ho Chi Minh, Amos, he kept saying, friends. The two Viet Cong waved him away. One of them shouted, Cong Biet Tiang Didu. They did not speak any foreign language. They are regular soldiers. My father whispered to a man next to him whose crisp white shirt was tucked into pajama trousers. Such a strong northern accent. You're right, the man whispered back. The way they call everybody sister and brother is strange. The men and women before us were not part of the so-called National Liberation Front within the South Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh was now sending in troops from the north for an outright offensive, full invasion. In the confusion, our family took refuge in a small temple just off the grounds of the guest house. Searching through his wallet, my father took out his took out all his business cards and hid them under a mat. "Just say you're a teacher," whispered my mother. He never had the chance. When a Viet Cong woman found us in the temple, a little more than an hour later, she jabbed her index finger into his chest. "You, brother, I know who you are," she said. "The party in the revolution will be generous to all those willing to confess their crimes against the people. The party could only be the Communist Party headquartered in Hanoi. The enemy's arm had now reached into the heart of who? Don't lie," the woman continued, putting her finger up to my father's nose. She said, "Brother, we know. You're the general staying in this house. Such opulence. We'll take care of you." We lost track of the time as the soldiers sorted out all of the people gathered in front of the guest house. At last, however, they accepted my father's protestations that he was not a general but a government functionary. He and other men were taken inside the mansion. Women and children were sent to a neighboring building, down a long rectangular basement with extremely thick walls and a single narrow door at one end. The rocket explosions had ceased, but the sound of gunfire continued. We had become accustomed to it and no longer jumped at the bursts from automatic weapons. 10 families followed each other below ground. I ended up leading the way into the darkness. "Go to the far end. Go," my mother urged me, and made sure that Du Quinn stayed with us. She knew that on capturing a town, the communists would use residents as workers to support military operations. Women would be sent to look for food or nurse the wounded. If not required to take up arms themselves, men would have to gather the wounded and dead. Du Quinn, a tall girl from 18, was at risk of being drafted for such service. Turning to the family behind her, mother explained, "My daughter is ill. A big girl, but not all that wise." It was an explanation she would feel compelled to repeat often in the next days.
And you can stop there when you read there, okay?
I finally settled for a spot below a minuscule window with iron bars in the damp, cavernous basement. The tiny hole let in a faint ray of light that signaled the first day of the year of the monkey. Throughout that day and most of the next night, the adults carried on a whispered debate, trying to make sense out of what happened. "They can't win," the guest house Shafford pronounced. "I bet they will retreat soon. The Americans will bomb and our troops will rescue us in a few days." My mother listened dispassionately. She sighed often and refused to eat any of the food the family next to us offered. Busy with their prisoners in the mansion, the soldiers left us alone. In our second day of captivity, a female voice shouted into the basement, "Miss Dye, is there a Miss Dye down there?" My mother picked her way to the door. "Your husband's up in the house." Or should I stop?
Keep going.
I think
Finish that paragraph.
My mother went up alone, warning me to keep my sister Dubois from wandering out. Oh my God. During the night, Dubois had been difficulty continually demanding hot water. For the last year or so, she had been obsessed with matters of hygiene, compulsively washing her hands, as well as any household utensils before she would use them. Finally realizing that this was a luxury, she now sat silent and withdrawn. I asked Dubois to stay with her, then went to sit at the door to wait for my mother. The guns had gone quiet at some point without anyone knowing. Most soldiers had arrived in the Oh wait, I'm gonna just stop.
Okay. We're going to say you stop there, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good reading. I did not see any errors on your part, Jonathan. That's awesome.
Besides the beginning. I was very
Yeah, but you picked it up. Yeah, you restarted. That's fine. You did a good job. All right, so now let's look at some of the comprehension questions and see what you can remember for me, okay? All right, so in the beginning of that story, what was the setting? What was the background?
Well,
How did the story start out?
at the mansion.
Okay. And
Well, a
when,
mansion courtyard.
right, all right. So when they took his father into custody, what was their goal? What did they do with all of them?
They separated the women and men and the children.
Okay. What were some of the events that you remember happening along the way? Like, what did the women do? What did the men do? What did his family members do? How much can you remember? It's okay. Whatever.
They took the dad, I think.
Okay.
And then the women were taken to a long hallway, a
Mhm.
single door,
Right.
in a basement,
Okay.
in a separate building,
Okay.
with the children.
Okay.
Women and children were there.
Mhm. And what was the task? What were the women tasked with? Do you remember?
Nursing the wounded,
Okay.
or taking arm and using weapons.
Okay. What did the men have to do?
They had to pick up the dead soldiers or the wounded soldiers
Okay.
from the battle.
Okay. And then what happened there toward the end? What was an event that happened there toward the end when you were reading?
Her
What
mother
kind?
went to find someone.
Okay.
I forget who. And she also lied, or she said something about her daughter being sick
Okay.
or ill, and then
Why do you think she did that? Why did she lie?
so that she didn't have, her daughter wasn't drafted.
Okay. And then what happened toward the end? Those last couple of paragraphs that you read.
Her brother, or the main character, had to watch over her.
Okay. All right. And what happened to the mother? Why did he have to get somebody to watch over
So
her?
nothing would happen to her.
Okay.
Like she wouldn't be drafted or anything.
But she was with the mother. What happened to the mother?
She left.
Okay. Why'd she leave? Do you remember why?
I forget.
That's okay. You don't remember?
No.
Okay. All right, very good. What was the section of the story kind of about? If you had to kind of summarize it, what's the
It was
main
mostly
idea?
about how the women and children were separated and how the main character had to deal with the situation as it was brought up.
Okay. All right. And describe the basement where the mother and the children were kept. What do you remember about that?
It was a very dim room with one single window
Okay.
with a light shining through it.
Okay. Anything else you can remember about it?
I forget. I don't remember.
Okay. All right. Why didn't the family just jump anymore when they heard gunfire?
Because they were so used to the sound of it.
Okay. Why did the mother feel it was necessary to protect her daughter?
Because she didn't want her being involved in the war. She didn't want her being drafted.
Okay. Was there a reason why the daughter couldn't be drafted?
Because she was ill.
Okay. What was wrong with her? Like physically ill? Is that what was wrong with her?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay, and I think that's about how far you and I read, so we won't need to go on with the rest of the questions. All right, you did a really, really nice job on that, Jonathan. Thank you very much.